Also have your toys nearby, your 2 matching blocks, your yoga belt, and some sort of pillow, padding for your head, your knees, and whatever else needs padding. We're going to start with knees bent, feet flat. And take your feet as wide apart as your mat. Turn your toes in, let your knees lean together. And then place your hands low on your belly. With your hands low on your tummy, I invite you to close your eyes. Turn your attention inward. Clear your throat. And then swallow. Activate digestion. Digesting is one of those things that we do when we are relaxed, when we are recuperating. When we switch to the rest, relax, restore, recuperate mode, our digestion tends to kick in. So swallowing, getting a sense of the base or the back of your throat. And with your eyes closed, let your breath come slowly in and out through your nose. Feel your breath scraping across the back or the base of your throat. Heaviness in the base of your throat as you inhale and exhale through your nose. Feel that breath scratching across the base of your throat, creating that whispering, ocean-like sound. And after your third or fourth long, slow, deep breath, you'll start to feel your bones settling in, your muscles releasing, relaxing. Everything starts to spread out against the ground. I don't want you to fall asleep quite yet, but do move as if you are daydreaming, half asleep, moving slowly, breathing slowly. Tune your attention inward. Let the outside distractions, the outside world fade away. As you observe your breath moving slowly in and out through your nose, begin to heel toe wiggle your feet narrow, closer to one another. And then invite your right knee into your chest. You might use the belt, catch hold of the shin, or take your hands around your shin, your knee, maybe interlace your fingers. Let your shoulders shrug away from your ears. Once again, check in, shake your head no, wiggle your jaw, maybe even yawn. And let your upper body settle in. Let your middle back settle in. And let that right thigh settle in against your belly and ribs. Now the other leg, that's your left leg. The foot, left foot on the floor. Dial that in towards midline. It'll help keep that left knee from falling open out to the side. And here you are. Just be here now. Letting your breath come slowly in and out through your nose. Letting the weight of your arms provide traction on that thigh. Welcoming that thigh deeper in against your belly. Deeper in against your ribs. Letting thigh and belly melt together. This is Ardha Apanasana, half wind relieving pose. That right thigh squishing down against your abdomen. You're helping to move things through your intestines. Squishing those intestines and promoting circulation and movement in the internal organs. And then with both hands on that right knee, straighten your arms, moving that right knee away from your chest until your arms are fully extended. And then let that right foot cross to the outside of your left thigh. So the right foot crossed over. And then use your hands to bring that right knee in at an angle towards your left armpit. Notice my right hip is staying down on the ground. I'm not rolling over. I'm still lying down, but letting that right thigh come in at an angle across my belly towards the opposite shoulder. And you might hold on with a belt or interlace fingers and do your best to keep breathing. So that right thigh is settling in against your belly, giving you a slightly different compression in your intestines and a slightly different angle on that hip stretch. Now, if you'd like a little bit more intensity, you can invite that left knee in behind the right. You end up with your legs crossed. And transfer your right hand to that left knee, if your arm is long enough. You might end up with one hand on each knee, your legs crossed. Again, check in with your shoulders, your neck, and jaw. You shake your head down, wiggle your jaw, even yawn. Let those shoulders melt away from your ears. Some people call this one supine, which means lying down on your back, face up. Supine shoelace stretch. Think about your legs tying a knot for a shoelace in your shoelaces. You can stay here or slide your hands down to the ends of the laces, holding on to your ankles, but not your feet. Do not go on to your feet. Just hold on to your ankles. Let that be the lowest you go on those legs. And do your best to keep on breathing. Shoulders away from your ears, a long, elegant neck, and deep belly breaths. Even though your thigh is squishing down against your tummy, keep breathing against that thigh. And that breath has to go somewhere. It will penetrate into your lower back. Keep on breathing. So notice which section of your butt, of your backside, is receiving the stretch right now. Just make a mental note that this stretch, it's that part of the hip. Then from here, release that left foot. Set that left foot back down. Again, that left big toe is dialed in towards midline. And then let that right knee swing out wide to the side. So that right thigh pivots and the hip joint turns out like a ballerina. And then flex your right foot. Ankle bone works into the groove near the kneecap. There's a groove that your ankle bone will fit into. Right hand can push that right thigh out to the side a little bit more. And again, do your best to settle in on that upper body. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. Again, you could wiggle, you could yawn. And do your best to keep breathing. Big belly breaths. Stay here if you like. You want a little bit more action though. That's your left foot on the floor. You're gonna let everything kind of swing from side to side and feel your weight shift on that left foot. The pinky toe side of the foot, and then over to the big toe side of the foot. As you let your lap tick-tock side to side like a metronome. Tick-tock your lap from side to side. Pivoting on that left foot. Rolling from the inside edge to the outside edge on that bottom foot. And you may notice that with each and every repetition, each and every tick and tock, you go a little further. And if you, like me, you travel around the floor a little bit as you do this. Maybe your hips kind of walk in closer to that left heel. The whole situation gets more compact from top to bottom, but wider from side to side. And then you're going to come to neutral, and that's the left foot on the floor. You're going to toe heel, that left foot underneath the right knee. You can see my left foot right there. I'm wiggling my toes at you. Wiggle that left foot over to the right edge of the mat. And then press your lap away from you. Press that top ankle, that would be your right ankle, into your left thigh. Think about lengthening your right knee down and away from you, all without using your hands, using the strength of your leg muscles. Only if your knees enjoy this. You don't have to push down and away if your knees don't like it. So this is a progression. You might still be up here, and that's doing it for you. Some people might still be tick-tocking, rocking from side to side, and others are trying to stack their shin bones like fire logs. Whatever you choose to do, take it easy. Just lay back and chillax. Now, if you're one of those people and there's no gaps between your knees are stacked on your shins, and there's no gaps between your legs and the floor, if you want to sit up, that's all you. Otherwise, this is laid back yoga. You can stay lying down. Some of you might consider sitting up and getting an even more intense hip stretch. Not me, though. I've been going to lots of Zumba and belly dance classes. My hips are sore. All right, and then slowly come out of that one. Now leave that left knee bent, the left foot flat on the floor, but then take that right leg into the sky and jiggle your thigh. Like my stripes? You can see my leg jiggling. Sometimes I think about what I'm wearing. Give that leg a good jiggle. And then release. Right foot down to the mat. Left knee comes in. Ease that left knee in against your chest. Go through that whole Ardha Appanasana series. So settling in. Shoulders away from your ears. Wiggle your jaw. Swallow. Yawn. Oh. The right foot is on the floor, and you're going to dial that right big toe in towards midline. And just let that left thigh sink down against your ribs. Big belly breaths. And then from here, with both hands on that left knee, straighten your arms, moving that thigh away from your chest. Let that left foot cross to the outside of the right thigh. And then ease that left knee in towards your right shoulder. Shoulders shrug away from your ears. Wiggle your jaw, stretch your face. Just make that mental note of where you feel the stretch on that left hip. Which part of your left butt cheek is stretching? Stay here. Or if you'd like even more intensity, invite that right knee in behind the left. So both feet are up off the floor. You can take your left hand to that right knee. Tie your legs up like a shoelace. Also close to the legs that you would use for eagle pose. But I think calling this dead eagle would not be too appetizing. Shoelace it is, I guess. Tie your thighs up like you're tying a knot in your shoelaces. And some of you might slide your hands all the way down to those ankles. Pull on the ends of those laces. Tie that knot a little bit tighter. Again, though, please avoid holding on to your feet. It would be kind of embarrassing if you sprained your ankle by grabbing hold of your feet and then pulling down and overstretching or destabilizing those ankles. So stay off your feet. Just hold on to those shin bones, those ankle joints. And then release that right foot back down to the ground. Let your left knee swing out wide. Let the thigh bone rotate, pivot out in that hip joint. Flex that left foot nice and flat. Continue to press that left knee away from your chest. Notice what happens if you pull your tummy in hard versus pooching your belly out big. Notice what that abdominal movement does and how it affects your hips, your pelvis. So you can make this a more interesting pose just by tucking and untucking your tail. Or keep that right foot on the floor, pay attention to that right foot on the floor, and rock your lap from side to side. So that right foot is the one on the ground, and you're rocking from the inside edge to the outside edge of that foot. Your lap is continually pushing away from you. And if you're like me, you tend to end up butt walking your hips closer to your heels as you do this, making the whole pose a little bit more compact, head to tail, and a little bit wider side to side as you rock. Now, if that's not giving you enough to think about and play with, you can also add in big belly, tight belly, tucking and untucking your tail, playing around with what's going on in your hips that way. And then eventually come to neutral, and you might work on toe heeling, wiggling that right foot as far to the left as you can manage, and then begin to press your lap away from you. Keeping both feet flexed, pressing your lap away from your chest. Thighs get longer. Knees press down towards the ground. Ankle presses against knee, knee presses against ankle. Everything presses down. You can play around with that by engaging your belly as well. Tucking and untucking your tail, any amount at all. And it's not unusual for that left hip to be very different from your right hip. And then slowly release. Coming back. That right foot on the floor, and this time your left leg. Raise the roof. Jiggle your thigh. Jiggle it. And then set both feet flat. Recenter yourself. Climb back to your starting position if you were traveling around the room. And this is your right leg. This is my right leg. You're going to shoot your left leg straight out along the ground and let that right knee open out to the side. If you're familiar with tree pose, we're doing supine tree, fallen tree, dead tree, sleeping tree, I don't know, timber pose. Let that right foot go flat up against the inside of your left thigh. Now, if you find that you're tipping over to the right, or if you're nervous about your right knee, you can take a block and support that right knee. But here's the trick. Have a feeling of support underneath that knee, only if you really need it. Otherwise, let that leg hang open a little bit more. That knee is probably a lot more stable in this position than you give it credit for. Left foot flexes flat. Belly pulls in. Foot presses against thigh, thigh presses against foot. Exhale, pull your belly in. And you can push your elbows into the ground, fidget your shoulders so they lie a little bit flatter. Find the midline of your body, dividing your body in half, bifurcating your body down that midline. Try to squeeze everything into midline. The foot against thigh, thigh against foot, knee pushing away from your chest, shoulders tucked underneath, away from your ears, arms narrow at your sides. Try to make yourself as narrow side to side as you can. And front to back. And then release. We're going to help that knee up, right knee up. Set the right foot down, set the left foot down. Take a moment to rock from side to side, neutralize your pelvis. Maybe transfer that block to the other hand. If you're going to switch sides. They come to neutral. Extend your right leg out. Flex the foot, footprint flat against the imaginary wall away, across away from you. And then let that left knee fall open out to the side. Prop up that left knee only if you absolutely need to. If you're just doing it out of habit, then challenge yourself a little bit. Go for a little deeper stretch. Let that knee hang only so much as is tolerable. Foot against thigh, thigh against foot. Both feet flexed flat. Abs pulled in, nice and flat. Shoulders tucked under. Arms narrow down at your sides. And breathing. Try to squeeze everything into midline. Just make this a little bit more active than usual. And then release. From here, 2 blocks if you got them. You might rock around a little bit to find both blocks. If you've got 2 matching blocks, notice I'm holding mine by the long edges. I'm holding the long edges of the blocks. I'm letting my knees tick-tock side to side a couple times. Setting my lower back to neutral. And then coming to neutral, I'm going to plant my feet. Exhale, pull my tummy in, tuck my tail, do a little pelvic thrust tilt, and then lift my bottom up and slide those 2 bricks underneath my back side. So I've got 1 brick underneath each butt cheek. And at this point, if you have a pillow underneath your head, remove it so you don't overbend your neck. You should still be able to swallow and breathe here. So make sure your throat is not constricted. Knees bent, feet flat. Hips well supported. Bring that right knee into your chest. Give it a hug. Left foot on the floor, left big toe turns in towards midline. Welcome that right knee into your chest. A deep wrinkle across your belly. Front ribs are tucked in like you're getting tickled. And you're going to transfer your hands to the back side of that right thigh. Hold behind the knee. Ease that knee in even closer. You're getting that lower back to hinge open. Think about the back waistband widening open. Top to bottom. All right, holding onto the back side of that right leg, go ahead and stretch that right leg straight. Got a belt nearby, you can hold on with a belt if you like. If you don't have a belt, you just hold to the back side of your thigh. But whatever you are holding on to, let out enough slack so that the leg could go straight. See the stripe on my pant leg? It's pretty much straight up and down. More important to get the leg straight than it is to put it behind your head. Take that leg super, super straight. And think about pressing your thigh bone away from your chest. Foot on the floor is turned in towards midline. Legs are narrow, like you're doing this wearing a short skirt. Try to engage that pelvic floor a little bit. After 3 or 4 breaths, you might be able to lock it and leave it. Just make that leg straight, leave it straight, and let the muscles in your hips, in your butt, relax. And then release. Keep that belt handy. Set the right foot down. Knee bent, feet flat. Toes turn in. Take some nice deep belly breaths. And then we'll do the other side. I'm going to bring that left knee into your chest. Hold around that shin. Use the belt if you need to. Hold around the back side of the thigh. Let your shoulders go wide across the ground. Let your front ribs tuck in. And now you can extend the legs straight or use a belt around the bottom of the foot. So either you're holding onto the back of the leg or you're going to use the belt around the back of the underside of the foot. And then you're going to take that leg super straight, letting out slack. You'll get further if you're not greedy in the beginning. So start off giving yourself plenty of slack so you can really lock that leg straight. Flex the foot, relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. And focus your attention on your breath. Taking those long, slow, deep, calming breaths. Notice that after breath 3 or 5, the muscles start to relax. The bones kind of settle in. Maybe you can do something or envision the bones in the left leg just kind of melding into position, just kind of locking into place. Bones just stack up just right. So that weight is completely evenly distributed through that leg, and the muscles relax, and your arms are heavy, and that leg just kind of ratchets in. You're not pulling, you're just settling. The leg can stay very, very straight as the weight of your arms brings it in closer to your chest. And then release. You don't want to spend all night long in any one pose. You might get overstretched on one area or in one side of your body. So knees bent, feet flat. Push into your feet, lift your hips up. Remove the blocks. Come on down for a landing. All kinds of great stuff happening in your lower back, in your hips. All right. From here, pick a side, any side, roll over onto your side. Continue rolling over. And pull up a chair or pull yourself up to the wall because we're going to put our legs up. We're going to lay right back down in just a moment. But first, before you lie down, get ready to lie down, but in a moment, have a look at the screen here and notice what I'm doing. I'm going to go the same way you're going. So hopefully you're putting that screen down by your toes so you can look at it without having to turn your head sideways. And you are putting your legs up on something and having all your toys nearby. Before you settle in, make sure all your fun stuff is nearby. And then a block or pillow, folded blanket can go underneath your head. So this is the setup. If you got a wall and you know how to do legs up the wall, you're doing legs up the wall. If you don't have a wall, a chair, you have an ottoman, a box, something, you put your legs over them. And then settle in. Again, as we begin class, swallow and clear your throat. Let your breath settle in. Long, slow, deep breaths, scraping, scratching the back of your throat. And then if you have legs up the wall, you're going to turn your feet in towards one another, letting your knees turn out so your feet come together like your feet are praying. If you're on the chair, work the pinky toe blade edges of your feet to the edges of the chair or the ottoman. And everybody finds themselves in a butterfly pose. Knees sliding down the wall, knees sagging down towards the ground, the bottoms of your feet together. Maybe the pinky toes are pressed into one another, and the big toes allowed to fan away from one another. Your feet might open up like a book. You can use your hands and press the heels of your hands, your palms, into the tops of your thighs, and push the right thigh, then the left thigh, and the right thigh, and the left thigh. Let your pelvis kind of rock from side to side as you press down with one hand then the other. And then lock both hands. Press into the tops of your thighs and press those thigh bones away from your shoulders. So your side waist get longer. And then find your tummy and pull your tummy in. Relax your shoulders to the ground. Maybe shake your head no, wiggle your jaw, and yawn. And feel some lovely traction in your low back. And then release. Bring your legs together. Extend your legs out or up, whichever way you have available to you. If you're on a chair or on a sofa, your body is kind of flowing like a river coming down a hillside, a waterfall. If your legs are straight up the wall, you are in lake pose. You're making a right angle with your body and your legs are fully extended straight up the wall. You are in lake pose, L-A-K-E. From that lake pose, you have it available to you, an option for you to take your legs into a big V for victory. Those of you who have your legs over a chair or a sofa, have your blocks nearby and your belt nearby, because you have the option of coming into that V for victory, but you won't have the support of a wall. So you're going to make do. And that might involve bringing both knees into your chest, taking your belt across the bottoms of both feet, stretching both legs straight up, holding on to the ends of your belt and even crossing the ends of your belt, so holding on opposite hand. And then let those legs open out. And as your legs open out to the side, you'll notice your arms cross and you get the added bonus of a bit of a shoulder stretch. And you have some support for your legs. Kind of fancy. Those of you on the wall, you're not going to get the same shoulder stretch on both shoulders at the same time. But those of you with legs up the wall, you can definitely take that right arm across your chest, hold on to the elbow with your left hand, let that right shoulder blade pry off the floor. Get a bit of a shoulder stretch. One shoulder at a time. Again, after the third or fourth breath, maybe some bones can settle in. If you have legs up the wall, just stay there. If you're doing this cross-armed variation in midair like I'm doing, I'm going to pull on the belts to bring my legs closer together so I can cross or recross the belt so that the other belt end is on top. If you need to sneak your head up and have a look at what I'm doing, go ahead, pick your head up and have a quick look. So you notice how my belt is crossed this way? I'm going to recross it now so that the other belt is on top. It's going to feel different in the shoulders as you come back into that wide-legged shoulder stretch, V for victory. If you're laying on the ground with legs up the wall, you can just take that left arm across your chest, hold on to that left elbow with your right hand and pry that left shoulder blade off the ground. So everybody gets a bit of a 2-for-1. And you may notice that after the third or fourth breath, stuff begins to settle. So those of you who have legs up the wall, you've been there for quite a while, you might have to tuck those bricks underneath your thighs. To wedge those bricks in underneath your thighs, take some of the intensity off your thighs. Using bricks in midair or in the middle of the room doesn't work so well, but definitely with your legs up against the wall, you can wedge those bricks in against the wall, against the floor, and against your legs and help support your legs a little bit because you've been there for a while. All right, if you're holding on to belt ends, pull on the ends of those belts. Slowly bring your legs together, everybody. Everybody has the legs straight up and together. And then you get to release. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Walk your hips away from your shoulders. That means wiggle your hips in tighter, closer to the wall. If you're lying on the floor, you're kind of wiggle walking your hips in closer to the chair, the sofa, whatever you're putting your legs up onto. Getting your hips in closer, and then set your feet down, or legs up the wall, legs over the chair or legs up the wall. And breathe. Wiggle your jaw, scratch your face, maybe even yawn. All right, if you got a pillow underneath your head, go ahead and take that pillow out. Do make sure you've inched your hips in really tight and close to whatever you were using. I gotta kind of wiggle down there and find my chair. You want to be able to reach down and hold on to the legs of the chair, or make sure your butt is wedged in against the wall. You're going to bend your knees just enough to put your feet down flat. So bring your knees in towards your chest, just enough to put your feet flat on the wall or flat on the chair, so that holding on to the chair, you can lift your hips up, your little pelvic thrust. Work your shoulders and elbows narrow, closer to one another. If you're doing legs on the wall, you just drag your feet down the wall, push into your feet, pelvic thrust, lift your hips up. Everybody's coming into a modified shoulder stand. Getting a nice stretch across the top of the shoulders. Can you keep your legs narrow? Maybe dial your big toes in, let your heels turn out a little bit. Your thighs stay narrow. Remember narrowing yourself earlier? Same idea. Pull everything into midline. Belly pulled in nice and tight. And then slowly set your hips back down. Release. If you're using that pillow, you can take that pillow, put it back underneath your head. Got your blocks nearby, clear the clutter, move it out of the way. And settle in. If you have legs up the wall or legs up on a chair and it feels like your legs just want to fall open, if your legs are falling open, you see I'm wearing my stripy pants again. If your legs are turning out like a ballerina, then I recommend tying your legs together. Tying your thighs together using a belt, not a tourniquet. We're not trying to cut off circulation. We're just trying to keep the thighs from flopping out. So buckle up your belt, tie a knot in your bathrobe tie. And then legs can be on the chair, or legs can be up the wall, and your legs can really deeply, fully relax. And just observe the weight of your legs traveling into your pelvis and all the different sections of your butt, all the different sections of your lower back that you stretched and targeted and released, all of those areas settling into the ground. And then find some breath in your back ribs, your back waist. And maybe shift your weight around a little bit. Kind of peel up one shoulder, then peel up the other. Get a little bit more contact with the middle back against the ground. And then work those shoulders wide. And set your arms down, palms turned up. And find long, slow, deep yawn-like breaths. Slowly begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Wiggle your jaw, wiggle your nose. Stretch and move and yawn. And make your way slowly over onto your right side. And press yourself up to sit. Let your shoulders shrug away from your ears. Take your head down, wiggle your jaw. Maybe even yawn. As you can see, my dinner's ready. Time for me to eat. Go ahead, sweep your arms all the way up and overhead. Bring your hands together, pull them down midline. And have a wonderful evening, everybody. Namaste.